Hi, my friends. Welcome to Sort of Brilliant, a show where the characters are made up and the sorting absolutely does matter. My name is Rachel.
And I'm her best friend and co-host, Lauren. Every other week, we're going to invade a fandom and determine whether your favorite character belongs in Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin.
We're the Harry Potter podcast that talks way more about any other franchise.
Here, we use the sorting structure from Harry Potter as a common language without supporting the author or her beliefs. As for the sorting itself, there's bound to be some arguments along the way.
But in the end, we're always right.
According to us.
According to us. So no one told us.
That's not what we're doing. We're done with that show.
No, let's go back and do it again.
Respect to Matthew Perry.
Ugh,
I've never
been
watched
rewatching
that
it.
show.
It's been rough.
We get it, Meg. You're cool.
Rachel. Wish that was recorded.
Whoa.
Can you believe that my friendship with Meg has survived her not watching Friends?
I kind of can't.
This is how you know that even though I am a Ravenclaw, I am a tolerant person.
Yeah.
I feel like
if I know anything about your house, it's because eventually you think one day you'll get her to do it. It's just on the docket.
I've given up on it, but I think organically.
Sure you have.
The hope springs eternal.
The hope never dies.
Frankly, I haven't seen the Harry Potter movies or read all of the books or seen Friends or Seinfeld. I don't know.
To watch Seinfeld, yeah.
Thank you so much. I feel vindicated. I've seen the Festivus episode, and that's about it. And I've seen one episode of Friends, and that's it. That's all I've ever seen. And I felt like the one I saw was enough.
Moving on.
We're not talking about any of those shows today. Carla and Meg are here.
Wow, when did the episode start? Cool. Probably because I did all the clapping. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was waiting for you to do the Our Flag Means Death intro music, which is distinctive, but I could not bring to mind if you put a gun to my head. So.
Oh, well, I'm hearing it's
piratey,
and that's not good.
It's something piratey. We're doing Our Flag Means Death again because season 2 came out and was completed like a month ago, 2 months ago, whatever. It was our most popular. It's basically our most popular episode, almost our most popular. Yeah, so we're doing it again, even though it lost all its fans because it killed Izzy. So,
spoilers.
If you're listening to this, you know.
Wait, did you guys? You saw it, correct?
Yes.
No.
Oh, can you imagine if we got out here and didn't watch? What happened?
You got it. You for real got me. I was like,
season 2.
I got
Season 2 came out?
Well, Megan just said I hadn't watched Friends. I didn't watch any of this shit. I don't know what she's watched.
Nothing. I've seen nothing. I know no pop culture.
All right.
Except the Golden Girls.
I'm glad we're not spoiling it for you. Okay, good.
Oh my God.
So,
well, Hannah yelled at us because we talked
death.
about it a week after the finale dropped. I said on the pod that they killed Izzy, and Hannah was like, "You spoiled it for me." I was like, "It's been a week. What do you mean I spoiled it?"
What are you gonna do?
Apparently, get really mad on the internet.
I guess.
A character. I had to mute everything about
fair,
Our Flag
fighting
Means
words.
Death.
I thought it sucked.
Well,
I
it was
love
sad.
Izzy. It was sad. And also, they gave him his whole thing where he was like, "I found my family," and then they were like, "Bullets."
Yes.
Which was exactly when I knew he was going to die.
Exactly. When he started being nice to Stede.
And Frenchie were being nice to them, to him on the ship when Blackbeard was being insane. I was like, Izzy's dead. I knew in the first episode of the season that he was going to die.
Bring him back.
That's what I was just going to say. Dude. He landed on his grave. He's coming back.
Yes, Buckles.
Buttons.
Laura said we're going to do Jim, Izzy, and Buckles. And I was like, who the fuck is Buckles?
Dude, the way I knew exactly who she meant anyway. I was like, yeah, that guy.
I mean, I've been sick for about 5-6 days, which is why I got my tea and water.
No, it's fair. It's just that we stand that character from the first.
Who doesn't?
The first season,
there's
because he was so ridiculous.
There's no reason to be sorting him other than for our own canon. He needs to get out of the way so we can sort other people because his place on the ship is very important.
He's a sea witch.
Yes.
Yeah.
He does not have a big part. He was in 3 episodes this last season, and I think he talked 3 episodes in the first season, but he needs to be sorted for very specific reasons. So
glorious and crucial to the plot. So
it's true.
Very true.
It's true.
Very true.
So we're doing
I didn't even question it.
Izzy, Jim, and Buttons today. And we're on we're on a time limit because this is 2 days before Thanksgiving. So Rachel said if we don't have time to fully sort buttons, we're going to scream what he is, and you don't need explanations.
He's screaming, go.
He's the spy. But Meg and Carla are here. We love Meg and Carla. We're so happy. They came to be on our podcast. Yay! It's been, when was it? Like April? Is that when we did the last one? When was the last one? Eurovision?
So. I mean,
Eurovision?
Oh, no, it was the cleaning lady.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 800.
It was like right before the summer, no?
It was like 870 years ago.
Right before the summer.
Yeah, it was April-ish. So when we start making our schedule for next year, which we have to do, we'll be sure to get you on there at least twice again.
Please do.
Yeah, because that way we can rage yell on the podcast instead of at the podcast.
Yes.
Meg and Carla like to occasionally invite us onto their podcast and then never record it. So that's fun for us too.
Well, okay, so for anybody who has been wondering, hey, where the hell has Wed and Behead been? It's been on hiatus.
Oh, they're so mad right now listening to this. They're like, these bitches are on another podcast. And
they're not releasing episodes. What gives? Yeah, so we went on hiatus.
You mean they're not dead?
Well, I mean, not yet. But we were on hiatus because of the strikes. So between SAG-AFTRA and the Directors Guild strike, we decided that in solidarity we wouldn't cover any of the strike material, which is all of the material.
Which is literally which is literally like everything. We tried for a little while to think of like, is there anything we could do, like book characters? And like, oh God, we have to read the same books then. And Carla and I don't have always the same taste in books.
We really don't.
And what a niche audience to be like, yeah, we're going to play Fuck, Marry, Kill with these three characters from this contemporary rom-com that no one
You should have just started picking your friends. You should have just picked your friends.
Just start. We would have done A Court of Thorn and Roses with you. We would have done like Iron Flame with you.
I haven't read A Court of Thorn and Roses.
Oh, well, you should have just read it.
I started reading it and got annoyed and stopped.
Rachel, we are dicks, but to be fair, this podcast is mostly telling the people who make the shows about what they did wrong. So
yeah.
But also there was lies when people said when your children get older, you have less stuff to do.
No.
That was a lie because it is Thanksgiving week and I have shit to do for my kids every single night.
Oh God, what a life.
Yeah.
And on the weekend. And they're not that involved. Like
yeah.
Stop being community members, children. Just be hermits like me.
Like seriously, if you never talk to people, then you never have to do stuff. Like why?
True.
How is that not a win-win?
It's true.
Just avoid everything.
Yeah, avoid everything and everybody.
Rot on your couch. I
have been
we're teaching them the wrong values, I guess.
I have been like I have been a hermit in more ways than one. I have not really watched any TV or movies except for one thing because there's over 500 hours to watch, and I've become kind of...
It's true. I feel like that with fanfic now. I haven't read fanfic in like 2 years, and then when I want to read it, I just read the shit that I love. So I'm so behind on new stuff. Yeah. Or
even
Rachel,
books at this point, same thing. I just want to reread stuff. Like I'm no longer interested. I don't know what it is. I think I just don't want to.
I want to reach. I want to reread those witch demon books, Rachel. I just read them in like May, but you need to read Iron Flame.
But it's hard to want to start something new. I really want to reread Twilight. I'm not even kidding. It's what I want to do.
Studies actually show that when you're feeling stressed or anxious, that's when you want to rewatch stuff because you already know what's going to happen. There's no big surprises.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah. That's that's what that is.
Yeah.
Like what I'm watching is new, but I just really only want to watch that.
Have either of you watched The Bear?
No.
That came out in the past year. I haven't watched
That's
it.
Like first of all, it's like watching My Family again, which is a whole other But every episode is so stressful, and I didn't believe people when they said, I was like, I can handle it. I go into it like I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, TV show, it's okay. I come out of it like, Jesus Christ, oh my God, I can't believe I lived like this at one point. Oh my God. And it's like, it stresses you out. And I'm like, I just want to put Friends on. I don't need this.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot.
Let me just rewatch Gilmore Girls for the 876th time.
My go-to right now is Superstore. I've been just like, gently falling back into the samosa arms. just enjoying that ship. I'm like, yes, this is comforting and sweet. I enjoy.
Well,
I'm also having fun being parasocial with Taylor Swift. So
yes, there's that too.
I loved going back and watching True Blood and Vampire Diaries because even like some stuff was new because I never finished them, but it was so nostalgic. I was like, oh my God, high school.
It's nice.
I wonder why Hannah really drilled into us that we had to be short.
Well, Rachel is going to drill that in as well. Yes.
Our Flag Means Death was not all new. I mean, we had all watched season 1 and season 2 we had just highly anticipated. So
Carla and Meg were in our season 1 episode. They sorted Blackbeard and Ed with us. I cannot remember if you did them correctly. I feel like there was some...
Blackbeard and Ed are the same person, so...
Oh, sorry, Blackbeard and Stede.
I think everyone got Stede, and I think we all got Alawande, but I think Ed was like
I think some people said Slytherin
mix
for Ed, and yeah,
if I got anything right when I sorted, it's a fucking shock, because I think that's my whole thing is that it doesn't matter. It will always be wrong.
That's fine. We're here to torture you more today.
Which is a comfort.
Thanks for coming back all the time to be stressed out by us.
It's my favorite.
So out of the 3 that we're going to sort today, Meg and Carla, who do you guys like best, so that we can start with like a fave? So we get Izzy, Jim.
Real quick. I just want to hear like overall impression of season 2. We touched a little bit on like Izzy died.
Okay, I am happy to start this train.
Okay,
because I love season 2. I love the ending of season 2. I think that, given the whole strike thing and HBO being a butt in the last few years. Oh, I'm sorry, Max being a butt in the last
Thanks,
few
David
years.
Zaslav, die in a fire.
The way that it ended, if this were the end of the show, I think it sets it up nicely, as a very nice send-off. That's just for starters. It wraps it up really well. And I think that it is the most beautiful love story that I have seen on TV in the longest time. I like the fact that it has never been a hidden thing of like, oh my gosh, are they actually in love? Whatever. They've always been like overtly very into each other. And even this season with Ed being like extra dramatic about,
that's such a nice way to say that.
It's a very nice way. Yes,
what an understatement.
Like murder path.
Carla, you said it's a beautiful love story, and I started laughing because you're not a fucking mermaid.
Merman.
They are fucking bonkers.
I love that they're so weird, but they're like perfectly weird for each other.
Weird.
They're just like the weirdest, and this is why they're perfect for each other, because only they get each other. When people are going to see it, saying, "Oh, he has turned absolutely evil," when he looks at the back of that wanted poster, he's like, "Oh, poor Ed." It's not, man, I dodged a bullet there. It's, oh, my poor baby boy. That just means they're meant for each other. It means that they're meant for nobody else, because nobody else should like enable that behavior. But that's them. But as far as Izzy dying, I think, to me, that is a beautiful journey that they took their character on. And I think that the conclusion of that journey makes sense. It's sad as hell, but I think it makes sense. And I think that it works wonderfully within that world. And he got such a great hero send-off that I think a lot of characters don't really get. Like, maybe Crowley in Supernatural, for example, where it's like, oh, beautiful send-off, let's forget all about it. No, he not only does he die heroically, he also gets to make amends with Ed, and they don't leave him. They find a place for their little, Blackbeard's B&B and accessories and fishing equipment right up the street from where Izzy is buried. So they are honoring him by staying close to him. This whole thing with David Jenkins of like, oh, there's, I can't envision a future without Izzy in it. I don't know how you're going to pull that off, bro. Can't wait to see it. But for me personally,
is a witch.
Buttons.
I said buttons.
Maybe he will transmogrification him into another seabird. I don't know.
It wouldn't even be the most ridiculous thing to happen on the show.
No, you're right. It is happening.
I thought that was fairly obvious to everyone.
He liked a tweet
that's
that somebody
happen.
said that was like, Buttons is obviously a witch. He liked that tweet.
He fucking landed on the grave.
The thing is, to me, that would be like a cheap way out of it, because
Carla,
I love the way that it goes. But
The show doesn't even have to explain it. Izzy could just show up and nobody would question
exactly.
it.
Hey, what's up, guys? Oh, he's been down.
And he'd go fuck off in his Kermit the Frog voice. And then
so good.
That was actually my twin brother, Tizzy.
That's why he was so nice.
That was my body double. I have several body doubles.
So logic. Let's go.
We did see his body. We saw him die. But I agree, though. I think with Izzy, like, the fact that you cared as much as you did when he died tells you that was such a beautiful character arc. And I'm sorry. It's a pirate show. All the silliness, all the ridiculousness, all the goofiness and fuckery. It's still violent. And people are still going to die. Mm-hmm. And I thought there was a lot of weird accusations online about it.
There were some people
bury your gays. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, ma'am. Everyone on the show is gay. Everyone is gay.
Anybody on that ship dies. What is all of it? Kill your gays? Because all of them are.
They're all queer. There were people in the first 3 episodes when Ed was like going crazy or whatever. They were like, "This is so violent. You can really see." And I was like, "He's a pirate."
Pirates. Wait till you hear what Blackbeard actually did. Yeah, wait till you hear
the pirate.
When you hear what Blackbeard actually did, this would be like, oh, so sweet. Look at that. He killed the whole wedding party so the bride and groom didn't have to live without each other.
He's getting into arson again. Technically, the fire killed them, not me.
You guys people gotta let me have my emotional support criminals in fiction.
Yeah.
Gotta let me have them.
Yeah. Can we stop being like, you have to be a perfect
like the people
example
who are like
of humanity to be a good
how can
character
you like
and for
Spike?
How
can you like Damon Salvatore? I'm like, they're vampires.
Right.
They just murder people, unfortunately.
Exactly.
And I love them regardless.
And they're hot doing it. Like, yes. I don't know what to tell you. Eric Northman.
There you go.
Nobody likes the whiny, broody vampire who hates himself.
I'm so glad that we've arrived here so that we can all finally agree that Regina did nothing wrong. And that we can walk back and all marry her.
This is what we call character development for Carla.
The killing of the innocent people. Scores and course of innocent people. It's a very big difference.
I won't mention all the children.
The genocide was a big thing.
Suddenly I can't hear. I don't.
Okay. I can't believe I'm the one trying to steer the ship.
I think Izzy is probably, everyone's talking about Izzy. Let's start with Izzy.
Sure, let's do that. I'm going to just take over now.
Okay, go for
it. My throat.
Well, Meg's going to change her mind about 5 times while you're talking, so.
Probably not. Because I am stubborn.
All right.
That is true. But okay, so here's the thing with Izzy. One of the biggest traits about him is that he is emotional as hell. Everything with him, he is just... he's always angry. It's like his biggest emotion, I guess. He's always angry, but he's always angry for different reasons. So it's like a whole color palette of emotion and of anger, rather. And he loves. Okay, so it's weird to say that he loves his community because he's a pirate. He's very into being a pirate and into what being a pirate means. But his community is Ed. Like when it really comes down to it, he is all about Ed and making sure that Ed is the right kind of pirate. That Ed lives up to the vision that Izzy has for him of what being a pirate is. And Ed, for the longest time, did that. He was the pirate that Izzy was proud to serve under, and that he had wished he could serve under different circumstances as well. But things don't always work out the way a pirate wants. But yes, Ed was his absolute everything. So when he sees that Ed is slipping away, he is, you would think that he would do everything in his power to keep him. And he does to an extent when he goes to the Republic of Pirates and kind of sells Stede out, not realizing that, of course, Ed's going to throw himself in there as well. But that's like an act of desperation that he didn't really want to go to. It wasn't something where it's like his first thing is, I'm going to make a plan, and this is what I'm going to do To me, like, it wasn't like that. Like, it wasn't so much devising a plot, because he would have done that, I think, earlier on. Ed kept kind of leading him on and saying, don't worry about it. You know, I'm just making nice with him for now, but I will absolutely send him to doggy heaven. Don't worry about it. I think that if Izzy had not let his emotions for Ed cloud his vision, he would have seen through it, and he would have tried to put a stop to everything earlier. He's also incredibly petty, but he's petty in like the most violent way. The most violent way. And also, like, I just keep thinking of when he catches Black Pete and Lucius, yes. And Lucius, and he starts mocking their sex sounds. Because like that is, you know, he's angry at them, first of all, for finding love where he wanted to find love, but also for screwing around when they're supposed to be, I don't know, swabbing the deck. I don't know.
They were swabbing the deck.
Ah.
Can you hear the wink?
And say, let me do that visual thing on an audio format.
And anytime that he has a very strong belief in who he is and in his place in Ed's life. And because Ed is his everything, he has a very strong vision of his place in the world. In that sense.
So what are you calling him?
I'm calling him a Hufflepuff. Also, in part, because I very, very strongly disliked him. In the beginning, like he grew on me.
And so you've almost entirely only talked about season 1.
I really did not like him in season 1 at all.
Same.
Season 2,
yes.
I liked him a lot in season 2.
Me too. Like he really turned the page for me in season 2. I was like, okay, I like him a lot better now. And the fact that I feel pretty strongly about this is why I know that I'm wrong. Also, I like the way that he says, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like
how he says twat.
Well, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Carla doesn't say that.
But that's how he sounds. He sounds like he's saying, you're a so close enough.
True.
Enjoy your own
beep.
Meg, I feel like you had a disagreeing face on. I feel like she disagreed.
Okay, well, I feel like part of why Carla also thinks she's pretty wrong is because I also think he's a Hufflepuff, but not quite for the same reason. I don't think he always struck me as so much more sad boy than mad boy. Like, he was violent and he did a lot of stuff, and his, like, I like how you laugh at me as soon as
when you laugh like that.
I really agree.
When you laugh like that, I feel like, oh god, we are so off base here.
I'm fully agreeing. Like, that is sad boy.
He is
with anger issues.
Yeah, he's like a toxic Hufflepuff, like a really codependent, clingy. This is mine. He doesn't think through actions. For me, like, at all. He gets mad.
The impulsivity of it all.
He's very impulsive, which is like Lauren's face is making me think I'm sure he's probably a Gryffindor or something. Like, I don't know. But it's just like, he's like my not even his boyfriend, but like my bestie likes this boy and he's getting in the way of my fun. And rather than like having a conversation or trying to adjust anything, he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the British. I'm going to go to the fucking English and say, here they are, and take him. Like, not a conversation.
Easier than a conversation.
Now as I'm talking, I feel like, okay, well, he's so emotionally repressed that he must be a Gryffindor.
But see, to me, the fact that he didn't confront Ed, like, in a different way, that he was like, well, I'm going to just be mad at Stede. I'm going to turn Stede into the British Navy. To me, that says more Hufflepuff than Gryffindor. But this is why I'm also probably wrong, so I can't wait to hear that.
I agree with that in some aspects, because this is the guy who literally let a man cut off his toes.
Yes.
Rather than being like, maybe
and
this isn't the best.
To him.
Maybe this isn't the best dynamic. But he also fed that darkness because he liked that darkness and he felt comfortable with that darkness. And that's where his Ed was. He wanted Blackbeard. He didn't want Ed. And I feel like he pushed and pushed and pushed because he didn't stop to, he really didn't stop to think about the repercussions. He just wasn't able to let it go. He wasn't able to let Ed go, and he kept pushing, until he realized that he went way, way too far. And then that's when I first off knew he was going to die. Like, as soon as he is like trying to not cry, while Frenchie and Joe and Fang are like holding him, I was like, okay, well, this is going to be great. My heart's going to break, because Izzy was a character in season 1 that I really enjoyed disliking. I didn't like his character. Well, I didn't like him, but I loved his character. I thought he was a great character. I thought he was a great antagonist for season 1 for Stede. But he wasn't like, oh yeah, my favorite guy. Con O'Neill did a great job. But in season 2, when he goes through his unicorn transformation or whatever, like, because it just felt like really textbook kind of redemption arc.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure I'm wrong. 100%. I looked at Lauren's face and I feel like that was absolutely
immediately. I was like,
she's got no poker face.
She has no poker face.
I wasn't trying to have a poker face.
Yeah.
I'm always wrong, so I'm sure he's probably.
That's exactly what someone who doesn't have poker face.
I was reacting to the things being said,
but I do think he was just. I know he's not a logic house. I guess that's as far as I can go. I don't think he is. I don't think he plans for anything. I don't think he like tries to set things in motion to see where they go. He is so reactionary in every single thing he does. He doesn't think anything through. At least not all the way. He thinks, I want to get rid of someone, so I'm going to go to the most extreme I possibly can to keep what's mine. And to protect what's mine. And I hate your guys' faces. Tell me why. Sorry. Just tell us why we're wrong.
I'm so sorry. It's not that you're wrong. It's just that we disagree. You could very well be right. The Sorting Hat could come down here and shit on us and tell you that you're right.
I know. Lauren's like, don't lie to them.
They're wrong.
We're in different houses. Can you tell? Lauren, you can go ahead and tell them why they're wrong.
What?
You look like you're itchy. You've been itching to say, you know.
I just, they said things and then I like thought things back at them, but I wasn't allowed to say them out loud.
Yeah.
It's been 5 months. She's dying to tell us.
I know.
So Rachel and I have been doing a project lately that we really need to finish where we're sorting all of the individual Taylor Swift songs. And we have to sort them by the song. So not the intent that we think or know that Taylor might have put behind them. We have to look at the song as it is lyrically and sort it that way. So there are a couple of songs that I've been claiming as Slytherin that I'll just like, I shake it off. Bad Blood, where Rachel's like, wow, that must be embarrassing to have to admit. And I was like, yeah, she's exposing us because this is like the worst side of Slytherin where we're showing you our inner thoughts where we're like, fuck everyone, we're the best. I feel things about this. It's like, and it's awful. But all of this is a way of coming around to say that Izzy is a Slytherin. And I hate that he exposes us so badly.
I really don't think so, but please go on.
I think a lot of what you said, well, first of all, I can attribute your saying that Ed is Izzy's community to just saying that Ed is Izzy's person. And the reason that he was willing to go so long is because he has had Ed as his person acting the way that he has, and it's worked out for him. He may not, well, they have, they make it kind of clear that they have fucked in the past or whatever. Even if it's not everything that Izzy, it's not a full-blown relationship. But he's been getting things from Ed, and he's the first mate. So obviously Blackbeard holds him in some kind of higher regard. So it works out for Izzy, right? So, yes, he's pushing Ed, but his experience in the past has said that I will be okay because he's not thinking of Ed as we know him as in a fucking insane Ravenclaw. He's thinking, this has worked out in the past, and I am someone special to Ed, and he's like, he doesn't get Stede at all. He does not get it. He does not see it. He does not get it.
Until the end. Hufflepuff.
Right. And so, well, yeah, so there's no thought to him that, like, Stede has fucked up Ed so bad that Ed's gonna start cutting off my toes. Like, he's like, it'll just go back to what it was, where like he's awful to everybody else, but I'm fine because I do everything that he wants and I'm totally cool in this position. And I think the other big thing to answer to a lot of what you're saying is that Izzy is very, 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 very proud. He is not going to go to people and tell them, Ed is degrading me. I don't like it. It hurts my feelings. He's not going to
incorporate that into his experience. Yeah.
He's not going to go to, like the crew or lay out any sort of plan where he has to admit that Blackbeard loves this like foppish fucking landowner, but has never loved him, Like he's not going to do anything like that. He's so proud. He's not going to like admit this shit. He is emotional in the sense that he's just always angry. I don't know if you like that's the only thing that he's willing to let in, because I think it fuels him and I think it helps him. So there are so many moments where I was like, oh my God, Izzy, when Rachel was telling me that she was like, when she said that she didn't like him in season 1 to me, I was like, well, that's because he was like trying so hard with Stede's crew. Like he thought he could do the little like, lie down, bitch boy, or I'll cut off your arms thing with them. And they all have they like have the mental acuity of 5-year-olds. So they were just like laughing about it and being like, Dizzy Izzy. Like it wasn't like touching them that like he really will do that stuff to you. So he had to like readjust. And I was like, and that's why he's so much better in season 2, because he's figured out that if he just ignores these fucks and like sits around making his little cryptic like manipulative comments, they all go crazy around him. And he's just like, he sits there and is like, curses are stupid, but they think the robe is cursed. And Stede's like doing his whole bloody and Izzy's like, I don't believe in curses, but the rest of your crew are fucking stupid. So I'm just gonna like whatever. Or like when Lucius cannot let go of the fact that Blackbeard pushed him overboard, and he goes to Izzy and is like, how can like he cut off your like how can you even he shot off your leg, and Izzy's like, nah, shark bit it off. Lucius is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Lucius is like, you are so delulu. And the way you can see, like, Khan is so good at this too. Izzy knows. He's like, yeah, I totally know what happened to my leg. He's like, yes, shark bit it off. But his face is totally like, yeah. And Lucius is like, so you're just going to make up this like whole thing just to get through your trauma or whatever? And he's like, yeah, it's better than sitting in it. Like, you fucking idiot. Like,
so that's where I see it as a Hufflepuff thing. Because to me, all of that has to do with a lot of emotions. Like he's repressing a lot of the emotions that Stede lets fly so much more easily, because Stede is very comfortable with being like, Ed, that's not cool. Ed, I don't like that. That makes me sad. Izzy can't admit that he's sad or that he feels displaced or abandoned or lonely. Instead of doing that, he just ups his front of I'm the tough guy.
The compartmentalization, though, almost speaks against being a Hufflepuff.
Yeah, everything you just said speaks to Slytherin to me, that he can't. And also, it's
like it's the same with Frenchie, which I'm sure by this logic, Frenchie's also a Slytherin. But Frenchie's like, I'm going to put these things in a box.
Thought about it. Yes,
yeah.
And I'm going to put that box away.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then I'm just not going to think about it. And Izzy is the same way. It's just Izzy's been doing it for a lot
because
longer
I was going to say
Frenchie.
To what you were saying, Carla, is that Stede does go through things. Like he moves through trauma. Izzy's like, I'm just going to put it next to me and never touch it again. Like it's still there. And something might poke it open.
To bring up that that Meg was talking about the impulsivity too, because it's something that people don't immediately recognize as a Slytherin trait, because it's not an obvious one unless they're highly reactive emotionally. Yeah. So we just covered Damon Salvatore. If you guys have watched Vampire Diaries, he's obviously a Slytherin, and he's the most emotionally reactive, impulsive, like at times very toxic Slytherin who just doesn't always seem like he has a strategy. But the thing about Slytherins is they're constantly thinking about and weighing, right? Like, okay, so if I die, is this worth dying for? Is this worth losing this for? Is this so? When he's like, it was like I forget who said it before, but they were like, he didn't think he was going to go this crazy over Stede, whatever. Like he thought it was fine. Like whatever, throw Stede to the wolves. Who gives a shit? It's just Stede.
Send him to doggy heaven. Like
whatever.
Like, yeah, Blackbeard told him.
Which is the funniest concept.
He is consistently thinking and strategizing. It's just that it's coming out in a way that like at times might seem a little pompous and arrogant, because he's like, obviously I'm right. Obviously, like my way of thinking is correct. So this isn't really impulsive by definition. This is like, I've thought about it. To the rest of us houses, we're like, no, that's impulsive, bro. That's impulsivity.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of what, like, yeah, I know that I've said like Slytherin's plan, they plan, but I feel like something, I don't know if I haven't got it across or whatever, is that we do plan, but we have like different pathways. We do what we want, and then we anticipate what each like reaction to doing what we want to do might be, and then like make a plan for each one. So it's like, I was just watching the second season of Loki, and we've already sorted Loki, and he's such an obvious one. But it's like, how do you get these angry Slytherins that seem impulsive? And Loki said it when he was talking. He had a line where he was like talking to Morbius, and they had just like were interrogating some guy and like started beating on him, and they were like, "Where'd that come from?" And Loki was like, "Sometimes you just get mad." He was like, "It just happens sometimes." He was like, "I tried to brainwash Iron Man and it didn't work, so I threw him off a building. And like I didn't plan to do, like I just got mad." And that happens. But then he knew what he was gonna do as soon as Iron Man went off that building. He was like, "All right, I have an answer to this. I fucked up in that moment, and now I'm gonna go fix it."
And I'm not arguing for Hufflepuff anymore. I'm just like bringing things out that to me contradict certain things, because I don't see him so much as scheming as I see him reacting. To me, he's reacting to the situation. Like things come up and he reacts to them. There doesn't seem to me to be any point at which he is manipulating a situation. Like, for example, when you were talking about the thing with the crew and the cursed robe, which was to me like one of the most hilarious things. Like, oh my god, just a robe. But anyway, I'm sorry, it was just such a funny episode. But to me, that was more him having experience with people like this and being like, you just got to let them play it out. Otherwise, you're going to be on top of you. And it's like a tired mom. You know, like you have a teenager and you're talking to somebody with a toddler, and you're like, you just got to let him wear himself out. He's gonna fall asleep any minute.
Well, I think so. You're right, and I think Izzy is a more unique Slytherin than we're used to seeing too. When Rachel and I were talking about it, she was like, "Oh, it's the Ravenclaw mentor Slytherin mentee thing," and I was like, "It's even worse than that. It's 10th Doctor Ravenclaw Slytherin obsessed like with the insanity of like that's a special kind of Slytherin like situation that they're in." And also Izzy is interesting as a Slytherin because you usually see Slytherins wanting to take the leadership position, and Izzy is a leader in his own right as like the first mate, and like Blackbeard's on a whole nother level just doing shit, and Izzy's actually running the boat, so like that works for them. But he's also like happy to be subservient to Ed, but that's basically because Ed is his person, right? And but you see moments
that
like
makes sense.
They switch on moments where they're like, actually, Izzy taught Ed like almost everything that he knows about piracy. So you see it coming out there. But I think you are right that Izzy is more reactionary because of his position on the boat. And he is very small scale with his manipulation, but he is manipulating. Like even in the first season, he is manipulating Ed into coming up with a plan to kill Stede and like telling them that he has to kill Stede. Like Ed is pretty bored with that idea like almost right away, and then starts to actually like Stede, and Izzy's the one that keeps going back and is like, "You're kind of a pussy," and then Ed's like, "Damn, I gotta kill this guy." So like and he is doing
to me that came across more as enraged impotence than manipulation. Because and I'm not arguing against your deliberation, I'm just saying, like, from my perspective, it seems to me more like he was doing it because he was having a hissy fit.
Well, I mean, I agree that I think he's having a hissy fit.
Fits, though.
Yeah, I think
Slytherins do have hissy
and I think that he is having a hissy fit. But I think it's important to know that, like, I don't think Blackbeard is easy to manipulate. So Izzy knows where to hit him and how, and like especially when he goes to him and is like, I don't know, Edward Teach. Blackbeard is my captain. Like,
right.
Like that. Like that's getting at Blackbeard in like a specific way. Because I think Izzy at one point tells him like, "I know you better than anyone, and you know me, I think, better than anyone knows me." So he is. But you're right too, and I like that you said reactionary because Slytherins are very reactionary, especially when they're in like sit back mode, where they're like conscious of how everybody else is seeing them. they're also like making sure that they are reacting in a way that benefits them to other people. I think Izzy, I mean, like, by all rights, he should have been thrown off the fucking boat, like, right?
Yes.
Like, he somehow
Several times.
He somehow gets these men to save his life when he shot it, like, several times, and he's never nice to them. He's telling them to fuck off at every second, like.
And it's also there. So, just to what you said about Slytherins being aware of how people perceive them and wanting to look a certain way, that's true. For the people that they give a shit about, right? So it's not for the masses. It's for who they care about, right? If they want something. But again, speaking back to the emotionally reactive thing, that also can go out the window a little bit. Like, I keep going back to Damon because he is like the top of the top of reactionary, impulsive. But Izzy is too. Like, there are certainly moments where I think he knows he's not being seen as the sharpest tool.
Big tough
like,
guy.
You're not doing the smartest thing. You're not doing the best. This isn't the best, most strategic move. And he's like, I don't even care. Like, whatever. Hate me then. I don't care. Like, I want to do the, and he's
like,
just
kill
reacts.
me. Kill me then.
Yeah. They're really emotional. It's a Slytherin man thing too, specifically. Like,
but
Izzy,
it's a commonality I'm
tell
seeing.
you right now, Izzy's on the left side, but he's like usually our left siders are kind of like demure. He's like a crazy one.
But look at Sam Winchester. Sam Winchester's on the left, and he can get really pissy and have little hissy fits and stomp his little foot and get really fucking mad about things too. And
like saying yes to Lucifer and drinking demon blood.
Reactive, impulsive too. It's just more quiet. But it's still there.
I'm having so many thoughts
I'm
now.
I'm thinking too, like, if I really get into Izzy's brain here, where he's probably thinking, like, I am the only person who can save, like, Blackbeard, like, king of the high seas. Like, this man is about to marry, like, some dick and, like, settle down in a B&B. And I'm the only one who can do anything about it. Like, that's the thing, too, with Slytherins, where it's like, it's me. I gotta do it. I gotta fix it. I'm the only one that has the power.
Well, I thought, like, it wasn't even so much trying to save Blackbeard or Ed. He was really trying to save Blackbeard's legacy. And I thought that was...
Right.
And also, but it was so frustrating too because he's trying to save this legacy, he's trying to save Blackbeard, and he's not willing to see that that's not what Ed wants to be anymore. That wasn't his choice.
He loves.
This is something that I said to Lauren earlier.
My throat is
was
on
that
fire, so I'm going to be a little.
sorry.
I'm going to be a little quieter than usual.
It's okay.
You're welcome.
It's all right. We'll all yell around you. Something that I said to Lauren before was
Meg.
I've certainly observed Slytherins are the least
the most resistant to change.
Most resistant to change. Yeah, I was looking for the word amenable. I don't know why I wanted to
least amenable.
But they don't like change. It makes them uncomfortable and it destabilizes their ground, which like they very fucking much need.
Control.
So you're watching.
Izzy knows how to control Blackbeard. He doesn't know this Edward person.
Losing control. He's on earthquakey, shaky ass ground. Everything is changing. His person is like, it's scary. It's terrifying. It's all so all of his anger and rage and pettiness is all coming from that.
And I can't stress enough. Like on top of it, he does not get Stede. He does not get it. He's like, how are you into this? I don't get it.
But here, so I guess my other kind of question about your thoughts or whatever is, all of this seems to talk about Izzy in season 1, and I feel like the change and the character, we haven't talked so much about
season 2.
What his season
I feel like we are. I think he's still impulsive and bitchy and petty in season 2.
That's what he was making the most of his
funnier.
Like but that's what I meant when I said like he got the crew to like a lot of his little comments were, like making the crew like him, or his little fucking drinking on the mast of the ship.
The unicorn has
the makeup. The unicorn has 2 legs.
The way that I interpreted that as the true Izzy coming out from under those layers of having to put on that act in season 1.
So you think he's a Hufflepuff with a Slytherin moon rising?
No. I think that if we're talking about him being a Slytherin, it would have been more obvious before the show started, before Stede came into his life. And to me, season 2 still very much reads Hufflepuff. I'm not saying that I'm not incorrect. I'm just saying that this is how I see it based on especially season 2.
That's interesting. There is an overlap between those two houses.
There
I was
is.
going to say,
I don't know what else to say. I thought we talked a lot
weird line
about season
it's
2. Yeah, it is.
Really
I thought
close.
we mentioned season 2 quite a bit, and I'm also thinking about like what you're saying about like he was disguising himself, but that also would be a very Slytherin thing to act a certain way in a certain situation. And Izzy's situation obviously changes quite a bit in season 2.
Like there are houses that can't do that. Like Ravenclaws can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
To my
they don't
knowledge,
want to.
Really,
they don't want to.
Don't want because they don't want to.
They don't care to.
Screw you. This is how I am. You know, like
Yeah.
And Gryffindors have a very hard time being anything but what they are. It's So, I mean, Izzy. There's something that Izzy says in season 2 that was very. There was another moment, like right when Ed was back on the boat, where they were like, "Are you cool with it?" And he's like sitting around doing his whittling. Like that was the other thing too. This man's just standing in the background whittling, like making his little manipulative quips whenever anybody looks at him. Like that's all he did in season 2. But Lucius again was like, "You're cool with this?" And he's like, "I'm a pirate. I'm on a pirate ship. Why wouldn't I? Yeah, I'm fine." Like that. And that was just very Slytherin to me. He was like, "Yeah, this is who I am, and this is the situation I am. Who I am wants to be in, and like that's cool with me. And I'll just like." Deal with things as they come to me. And his whole like realization or not a realization actually, because he knows what piracy is. It's very clear when he's talking to the prince that this is always how he's thought of piracy and being a pirate. And it's just that it was really good. And that's clearly how he's always seen it and what he's always liked about it. And I think it speaks to Izzy as a Slytherin as well, that he can adopt that viewpoint for whatever group of people he is with, even if he clearly does not like them as people. He's like, but I will apply this to you because this is how I view who I am. And I will react the way that piracy like asks for. It's almost like the whole fucking Captain Hook honor thing that Gryffindors have, but like the Slytherin version of it.
I will say it's one of those things where if Slytherin House didn't exist, I probably would shift him to Hufflepuff. Like I can see that there's a sense of community with the piracy. Like I get that comparison. I personally wouldn't say Ed is his community. I would say if I had to pick a community for him, it would be like all the pirates, whatever. But because he's so obsessed with Ed and he's so obsessed with like his position in his life in relation to Ed, and the importance of keeping the legacy of Blackbeard, the importance of nothing changing around him, and all the character development we see him go through, it just reads very Slytherin to me.
That's the other thing actually that I was going to say too, that you reminded me of, Rachel, is that I don't, like we see this issue with Cass where even when he's like, heaven sucks and the angels sucked, he has a very, very hard time killing them still. You know, Izzy was like, Ed's fucking crazy, put him down. It's a mercy to him and to all of us. Like, you know, he's gotta go.
Well, the thing too is
Cass would have never put Sam
he was like
down.
or when they're like when they were voting on the banishment and Stede went specifically to Izzy and he's like, you cut off my fucking leg. Like, what are you asking me?
But the thing is, like, he never actually does anything towards that end. You know what I mean? He farms it out to other people.
Like the harming of Blackbeard?
So I was gonna say, I mean, when Blackbeard comes down and hands him the gun, he doesn't shoot him because that would have given Blackbeard an easy out. Like, Izzy was not gonna do that for him. He told him, he was like, so you're a coward and you can't even kill yourself? He's like, I'm not killing you. Like, you kill yourself.
Right. He really doesn't want him to actually die, but he does want him to suffer consequences.
Right.
And
he does, like, when Blackbeard starts going crazy and like affecting Izzy's well-being, he's like, get the fuck away from me.
Right, but still, like, there are so many things that scream giving him an out, because having these mediocre pirates deal with him when he doesn't trust them to, you know, to do anything piratey, to me doesn't exactly scream, I want him actually dead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think he wanted him actually dead. He wanted him to stop hurting, stop affecting me negatively.
He wants to punish him.
You know,
he's
punish him, but he's not willing to do it himself, and he's also not willing to farm it out to farm out the task to somebody who would do it well, who would punish him well.
Mm-hmm.
He loves,
because again, these are mediocre.
He's giving his person an out. He
loves Ed. Like he does. And there are all those scenes too
like,
where
too much.
Rachel and I were like laughing at this fucking Ravenclaw Slytherin interaction where
like,
they're like sitting in silence next to each other and he's like, sorry about your leg. And Izzy's like, fuck off. Like,
I just keep thinking about that, oh God, what was it? Now it's gone. Never mind.
Whatever it was funny and entertaining.
Right? And I also made note of the fact too, and I thought this was just very, well, it's Ravenclaw, clearly. We talked about this with 10 all the time, but Izzy cannot say, or Ed cannot say I love you or I loved you to Izzy's face. He's always saying it to other people.
That's exactly what I was
and Izzy's okay with that. He just needs Ed to show him, and Ed's not.
Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me, brother.
He's like, I just need to be clearly your favorite all the time, always.
Right. Is that too much to ask?
It is, and it was, I thought it was, I mean, David Jenkins teased this, or said this, and I don't know that I saw it a ton. He did say that this season was supposed to be more of like showing Izzy and Stede relationship-wise, like romantically almost. And I don't know that I like Izzy definitely, like, Stede grew on him to the point where he, like, could stand to be around him and was, like, okay with Ed being into him because he does walk in, right, he does walk in on them after they have sex for the first time and, like, makes a little joke about it, and it's fine, which struck me as Slytherin, too, to be honest. Hufflepuffs, again, are very, can be.
I saw the Izzy Stede thing, and I actually said to Lauren, had I seen this before, like, if Blackbeard hadn't been in the pit, like, I would have shipped that. I would have liked that. Would have been some real enemies to lovers shit that I would have enjoyed. So I liked it. I don't know. I didn't see any actual romance between them. Like, I didn't think it was actually going to go there, but I remember watching it and thinking, like, I would have liked that. I would have enjoyed that.
And the way that I saw it was like, you know how when your best friend is dating a guy that you can't stand, and then you've made your case so many times, and your friend is still like, I'm still going to date him though, and I'm probably going to marry him, and so then you try to turn around and be nice, but you mostly just want to, like, you know, like, cut his balls off. It's kind of like that.
And then you got to try to bond with him.
Yeah. After you have told him that you want to cut his balls off, it gets very awkward.
Yeah.
I'll say one more thing and then we should move on because we've been on Izzy for 40 minutes. But, like, the other thing, too, is that Izzy went through several moments of, like, being on the brink of death or almost death. Yeah. And I think that we have said that Slytherins are very good at surviving, but it's also the fact that every time death was there for Izzy, he was like, cool, ready to die. Like, you know, he was like, I will die.
I think so much of it's because he just never expected even to live as long as he had.
Well,
given his life, I mean.
And he kept all his appendages really until Blackbeard took all of them.
Like, so mad at him dying, and I was like, this is an old man.
Right.
Yeah.
Pirate, like,
well, for that
time period, and I'm sorry, you guys, the real Izzy Hands was like 21 when he died, so,
right?
Like, he's already doing better.
Oh my God, like, I will never get over the whole thing of, like, first of all, queer baiting, and second, the claims of queer baiting and of killing your gays. Okay, children, go back to sleep. The rage.
Well, anyway, I mean, let it be known that the Slytherins can be the biggest simps in all of the houses.
It's true. It's very upsetting that Taylor Swift
shop him
and
up.
some other media keeps and he ate his pinky and then he was turned on.
Yes, it was like
insane. Let's move on.
I hate
to
that we're
Jim.
Exposed like this by Taylor Allison Swift and so many other people. Anyway,
they got your asses.
Jim is great. I love Jim. Carla, what house do you think Jim is in?
Can't wait to be wrong about this one again.
You're not wrong.
Jim is a bit of a weirdo. They're interesting.
I love Jim. I love Jim from season 1. Season 2, Jim only got more interesting and beyond all reason hotter. Like, I don't understand how that can happen. And yet it did. Yes. Like, the worst thing that could have happened to me was watching Vico just exist as Vico in between seasons of Jim, because now I only stan this character even more. And it's just, this is not okay. This is why we shouldn't have access to actors and their personal lives and their TikToks, because, you know, funny things start to happen in your blood chemistry. Anyway,
you say for your head.
funny things start to happen in places that you don't expect. But anyway, so Jim, first of all, daddy issues, Gryffindor. Anyway, moving on. No, I'm kidding.
That's it.
That's need I say more? No. But particularly in season 1, because season 2, Jim was involuntarily signed up to Blackbeard's crew. Jim, they weren't given a choice. It wasn't like, Jim, would you like a spot in my crew? And it was like, you're working for me, or I can kill you. Enjoy your options. But season 1, Jim had a lot more agency, and they were on a quest. They were using the whole piracy thing as a means to an end, but in the end, it was all about finding the Siete Gallos and killing them all off. And it was a quest that they didn't even necessarily want for themselves. It was imposed on them by Nana, and they had like understandably all of this grief and this rage that they were channeling, that was being channeled for them into a particular skill set in case they ever get taken. But that was more for Nana's sake than for their own. But it was, I think Nana is the manipulative one in that relationship, because Nana absolutely, like you were saying about Izzy shaping Ed into a vision of what he wanted. Similarly, Nana shaped Jim into a vision that she wanted to see of this child, so that this child would grow up to be somebody who could go and kill the Siete Gallos. So Jim will
never say that as eloquently as Carla's doing it.
But it makes me think of Dean Winchester, where, this is somebody being honed into a killing tool. Somebody who has had a mission drilled into their brain from when they were very young. This is what you exist for, and this is what you will do. And then they decided, okay, well, this is who I am, I guess. I'm just going to go and do it. And they both lack that loving paternal figure. One, because the father was a jerk. The other one, because the father was killed. So there are those similarities. And then there's also, with Jim, an interesting balance of emotion and logic, because Jim is very cunning. Jim is very clever and knows how to use a situation for their own benefit and towards their own ends. But at the end of the day, Jim, I think, is more ruled by emotion, and in Jim's case, often it's guilt and the need to pursue Nana's agenda. And in season 2, well, I am a soldier. I am a tool of destruction. So if Blackbeard says annihilate this ship base, then I guess that's what we're doing. But then I love the relationship with Archie, and how Oluwande comes back into their life and gets neatly folded into that relationship. And I think that Jim is the most emotionally intelligent person on that ship. Jim is the most intelligent person in any room in general, but emotionally intelligent as well, because they are reunited with Oluwande, who they weren't sure if they would ever see again. But it wasn't a thing of like, who are you with? Why are you, making eyes at this person? Like, it's like, oh, I kissed this woman, felt her up a bit, and I'm glad that you're back. Let's all hang out. But then, again, this emotional intelligence means that they don't gatekeep Oluwande. They don't say, well, you can't go with Zhen Yizhao. You're mine. There is no possessiveness there. It's a very evolved situation where they see that Oluwande really has these feelings that they want to pursue with Zhen Yizhao, but that Oluwande himself doesn't want to let go of the loyalty he feels for his relationship with Jim. So Jim has to be the one to kind of like push Olu and say, look, I love you, but I think that you need this more at this point in time. And that's more a matter of, to me, more a matter of doing the right thing for somebody that you care about than creating a situation in which this happens via a machination behind the scenes. Anyway, Gryffindor is what I'm saying. But I can see other houses too.
Go for it, Meg.
Meg, I'm sorry about your voice.
It's okay. I don't even know. Like I was.
Do you agree with Carla?
I agree with Carla, but I also, like, she said so much stuff more better. But I also, the thing that kind of for me was just like when Stede was gone and Blackbeard was going crazy, and Jim is sitting here, and they're just like, well, I guess I'm the comfort person of the ship. Yay. And that was kind of their shtick. And when Izzy got his leg shot off, again, I'm sick, so my thought process is not great. Izzy gets his leg shut off, and Archie is kind of like wondering why are you going through all of this trouble for this guy? And he's like, and Izzy, Jim is like, well, he's a dick, but he's our dick, and life used to mean something, and they seem, like I said, Carla said a lot of stuff, which is fantastic. Because it means I don't have to say a lot.
She did say many things.
Carla said a lot of things that made me feel great about my house.
Yeah.
The most intelligent one in the room. The most emotionally intelligent.
I know, right? Like, let my little Gryffindor light shine.
Thank you.
But they seem to be the reluctant caretaker in a lot of ways. And for me, that just doesn't really feel like if it's anywhere else. And that might just be me, and that might just be me being sick.
That's a really fair description of what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
you're doing great, dude. Relax.
I am so sorry.
No, you're doing
I was
really
so excited to talk about this too, and I got so sick on Saturday, and it's just been like killing me. But I don't know. I loved it. If I had one complaint about season 2, is that we didn't get enough Jim. And enough of the other side characters, because I feel like there was so much concentration and like rightfully so, there was a lot of focus on Izzy and his growth and stuff like that, and we had to figure out Wed and Stede's bullshit. But I really wish we had seen more of the rest of the crew, because they're all extremely interesting and extremely lovable.
Yeah, they are.
Jim, yeah, I just feel like Jim's the one who's like, well, fuck, all right, I'm gonna take care of this because it's got to get done, and I'm going to pout about it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to not be happy that I'm fighting for Blackbeard, but this is the best place for me to currently be to find my friends or survive. And that's kind of like, they take Izzy under their wing. And I feel like they might've been the first ones to do that. As Izzy's getting his toes cut off and is like, is being held together by duct tape and dreams. And I just felt like that shift went, because Izzy just was never really great with Jim. But that kind of adopting of this crew, of these people, feels like that to me. And I'm sure that I am probably wrong. And they're probably.
Well, I'll tell you straight up.
Hufflepuff.
Like I didn't have strong feelings about Jim's house for like a good minute. I really when I found out, when we talked about who we were going to sort, and we said obviously Jim, we wanted to do it in the first episode too, but we were packed. There was much more Jim in season 1 to like dissect, and and I personally thought at first like. This has to be an emotion house. And I thought Hufflepuff. And I couldn't quite articulate why. I was like, is it something about the identity and like the importance of finding their place and getting away from like Nana's version of what they should be. And like, I was trying to articulate it. And I'm telling you right now, Jim's house confused me more than any other character's house on the show. And so I went to Lauren with it. She took it in a completely different fucking direction. And I'm on board with her. So I'll let her explain.
She's like, no, I'll make her explain.
Are they a Slytherin too?
I don't know. They're a Ravenclaw.
No. Yeah, like when Lauren said Ravenclaw, I was like, how? Like, you know, like, I don't get. And then she just launched this explanation that I was like, oh
yeah,
all right, I'll take it, because I was very, very confused. Like, I don't know what it was. It was like watching someone like explore and test and like figure out who they want to be, and like extremely emotionally intelligent. But it's like what Carla was saying. They're so emotionally intelligent, but also like extremely fucking so logical.
It's like there's a lot going on with Jim.
I was gonna say. I think the thing
you
too,
said
like
Ravenclaw, and Carla's my Ravenclaw person. I'm like,
it fits, right?
Yeah. Gryffindors are super emotionally intelligent, but I think the like thing with Jim is like, yes, you're right, they are emotionally intelligent, but they're not ruled removed from it. Yeah, right. they observe it. Like Gryffindors are like in it. Like the one I go back to is like Hook is extremely emotionally intelligent, but he's like seeing these people's emotions and he gets the emotion and then he emotionally reacts to their emotion and like he does it in the correct way as an emotionally intelligent person. But he's like in there in the emotions. Yeah, Jim is just like, oh, you're feeling this.
So it's like Gryffindors laugh at jokes, Ravenclaw say, that's funny.
Right, in season 2, when Fang is like losing it, he's like, he shot Izzy! And Jim's like, you want to hear about the little wooden man? And he's like, they're so emotionally removed, but they're doing it. It was very sweet. And that's how I feel about Jim. I also think Jim is like, everybody on this ship is fucking weird. Like even their houses, they're like so like stretched or weird or distorted or whatever. Because Carla was right. Nana did fuck Jim up. Nana was like, your system is revenge. Kill them, revenge. And I really think that what Jim wants more than anything is freedom, like freedom of self, freedom of expression, freedom in the sense of what it means that you can do whatever you want, but also all this stuff with them like figuring out their identity and who they want to be and whatever. And they are, out of like familial obligation, being forced into this like, no, you need revenge, because they really don't. When they go back and they're like, I only killed one, but it was the most important one, like that was good enough for them. And then Nana guilted them and they went back to Spanish Jackie again. And Jackie was like, why are you doing all this shit? And Jim was like, you know what? You're right. Let's be friends. Like,
I think wanting freedom and stuff like that is pretty universal for
well, yeah, but I think
everyone.
That's Jim's like, well, like survival is universal, and that's still Charlie Kelly in his entire life. So like,
yeah. Well, when you're talking about a system, it's like, what is the lens through which you see everything
and do
and
things.
What are you working towards constantly? And like Lauren was saying, Nana would have had them believe it was revenge, but it wasn't actually. If you actually ask Jim, what does Jim want? To be fucking free.
Right. Like, just do it. Yeah.
Let me be me.
Yeah.
Right. Jim just wants to do whatever they want to do on their terms. Yeah. They've been doing everything that Nana wants them to do, and then everything that Blackbeard wants them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're kind of biding their time with Blackbeard and you know, kind of making the best of the situation. Not because they like the situation, but because this is the best thing that they can do at the moment. It doesn't mean, to me, you know, like Jim may very well have a plan, and it's if I have a complaint about the show, it's exactly what has been said before, that there wasn't enough done with several characters, but particularly with Jim and Olu. Like they did not get enough character development.
I really didn't like that there wasn't more of that.
Yeah, especially because they had so many opportunities to give them more to do. But if there's one thing with Jim, is that it wouldn't surprise me if they haven't had some kind of plan for the future especially now that things have settled down, that Blackbeard is no longer in control. Especially, you know, with Frenchie being in charge.
Right.
Which is hilarious.
I mean, I think that, like, I think you're exactly right. And that's why they get along so well with someone like Oluwande too, who is like, do whatever you want. Like, you know, like have a girlfriend. Like, you know,
also, when you were talking about the discussion that they were having with Oluwande about Oluwande's like new Love.
Yeah.
Jim was the first one that was like, well, I kissed someone.
Right. Yeah.
I kissed her. And then I saw her boobs.
Yeah, and they
and I liked it.
And like Jim
was the one who was super cool with it. You know?
Yeah, and they explained to the Pirate Queen too. They were like, Oluwande and I are like family. Like we're always gonna be like, but it's like cool. We can be you can be family too. Like come on, let's go.
I don't think you could. I don't
Give
think
us our polycule.
Yeah, I don't know. Just speaking as a Gryffindor, like I don't think I could have been that cool about it. Like I would have been really upset. Like, what do you mean kiss someone? I didn't kiss anyone. I wouldn't have kissed anyone. How dare you? My honor.
But I think that there's a lot in Ravenclaw's, like, you know, I think of Abed and Community, where, you know, even though, you know, when Troy is leaving, he knows that Troy is leaving and it's very sad and it's very difficult. So he says his goodbye in his own way. But it's not like grabbing onto Troy's ankle, sobbing, "Don't leave me.
Yeah.
Can we talk every night on the phone?" It's just, here's my goodbye to you. We may or may not meet up again in the future, but this is what I can give to you that's from my heart. And similarly, Jim is not going to like sob about Olu. They're going to be like, all right, well, this is what works for Olu.
Yeah, really.
I think that this is the best thing for them. They're not taking
very
action
mature
on
dynamic.
it.
Well,
Yeah, it's a very, this is what they want. They're not pursuing it. Let me help that process along.
Yeah.
You saw it too, again, with, I can tell you right now, Lucius is not a Ravenclaw, where they're like flipping out. They're like, how are you like fine? Like you're okay with Blackbeard. You're moving on. You're scrubbing his deck. And Jim's like, he stood there and said sorry. And he's like, I did not hear the word sorry come from his mouth. And Jim was like, no, I think that was pretty good. Yeah, for him. Yeah.
Right. Works for me. Like, I don't know why you're
Jim
so upset.
immediately gets with it. I love the Abed comparison. Like I see that connection now. I would have never thought about it. Yeah.
I never watched.
They just get it.
Not talking to you anymore.
Meg, something else that you should watch.
Meg.
Yes, but I thought Jim was a Ravenclaw, and I thought their relationship with Oluwande is very
It was
Ravenclaw.
so hard for me.
Slytherin.
I swear to God, I went through all 3 houses. I didn't even touch Ravenclaw. I was like, they gotta be like a Slytherin. Maybe this Oluwande thing is like Slytherin. No, it
It's
doesn't
so
quite
weird
fit.
too, because I didn't either. But then, like when it's said, it's like, okay, that
When she said it, I was like, why did I fucking? Why did he get what?
And you know
probably
what?
because to me, Ravenclaws can be difficult if I don't see a system immediately. Like so many of you, Carla. Yeah, the system is right there.
You heard it.
Because we're very internal. The system is on the inside. We may or may not let you see what it is.
And the loudest of you are very loud. Like Blackbeard and Doctor Strange.
Screaming.
Rumpelstiltskin. You're all very loud.
Because when we're proud of something, we want to shout it out. But sometimes we just want to keep it inside, so you don't know everything.
It's just for us. It's our secret.
And Jim is one of those. Jim is that.
Yeah.
Like they're like, you're not seeing.
Jim is
shit.
very, very internal. And if you'll notice, I didn't fight you on this one in the least.
Because you want them. You're like, yeah. Give them to me.
I get it. When I get a character I like in mine, I'm like, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
One other thing too is when Jim like comes out as not Jim or whatever, the fake nose and the beard or whatever, and the crew is like being so inquisitive and is like, "Are you a mermaid? Can I be Jim now?" And Jim is putting up with it, but is obviously, as anybody would be, like very tired of it and frustrated. And finally, they're like, "Listen, you remember Jim?" And they're all like, "Yeah." And he's like, "They're like, you know how you like Jim?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he's like, and they're like, "Just pretend I'm Jim, but I don't have a beard and a big nose." And they're like, "Oh yeah, Jim's a really good guy."
That easy, kids.
Like seriously. And the thing that I like too is that, and you've mentioned
the Swede.
The Swede with the season 2 blow up. What the hell? I was not expecting that. I was not expecting to lust after the Swede after season 1. If you had told me in season 1, next season, just wait, like, your face. But no, I forgot what I was going to say because now I'm just thinking of the Swede being hot.
Of the Swede.
Like, I don't care about anything else anymore.
Why is he hot now?
He doesn't need to be hot, but thank you.
Let's move on to Buttons, and he will be 10 minutes or less.
Okay, so I went Ravenclaw because he doesn't care what people think about him in the least. He is very solid in his opinion of himself. And he's like, okay, this is just me. I am the ocean. The ocean is me. My best friend is a seagull. Oops, now he's dead. I have no best friend. I just seek to
Olivia's a widow now.
Yes, somebody has to come for Olivia. Wink, wink. Just kidding. But
I love that.
The sea is his focus. Like that is his skill set, and he puts everything into it. He doesn't call himself a nautical genius, but it's okay with what other people do. You know, it's like I think a Ravenclaw may or may not, really hype up their own best assets, unless you're Doctor Strange. But if other people do it, you're not gonna be like, nah, bro. That's like, don't, whatever. I'm just a humble sea person. No, it's like I'm gonna nod along. If somebody calls you a sea witch and hands you a scroll to turn yourself into something else, you're not gonna be like, oh no, please, not me. I can't possibly harness that power. You're gonna be like, yep, this is mine. I will figure this out. And I think that he is weird in the best way. He has his own logic that often nobody else can see until they do see it. And they're like, oh, got it. Okay.
It's so true.
It just makes perfect sense. Again, going back to Abed, like how many times did Jeff not see Abed's intention until suddenly it's like smacking him in the face? He's like, oh, like the whole thing where Abed is like, I appreciate that you're trying to set me up with girls, but I can get girls on my own. They have to come to me though. It's that confidence that is not very in your face, but it's there. Again,
it's the Delulu.
Yes. Yes.
Delulu is the Salulu.
It is. Delulu is the Salulu specifically for this character. Big time. Woo.
Travis
so that's my assessment.
How is it Delulu when he talks to birds and becomes a bird? It's not a delusion.
It's actually Delulu. You're
it's
right.
Not delusional when
right.
it's actually the reality.
He manifests, man. He makes it the reality.
He makes it happen.
Yeah. I love buttons.
Like, do we really think that his hex called the cannonball down on
right.
Calico Jack?
I mean,
hex ye. I hex ye. That was one of it lives in my brain constantly. Like whenever somebody cuts me off in traffic, I'm like, I hex ye with a flat tire.
All come out that this entire show was just a fever dream of buttons. And I would believe it. It would be like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense.
Buttons specifically makes a lot of sense.
Do you think Buttons is a Ravenclaw too, Meg?
You know what? I don't know why I bother doing these.
Why do we even come here, to be honest? You can have
a different opinion than Carla.
Do it.
I know. I think he's more of a Slytherin. I don't know.
Okay.
I have this? I love your faces. You're like, what? This is hilarious.
Like, wow, wacky.
I love that. Why?
Do I have good reasons? No. I just think that he's very much just like, you know what? I'm going to fuck around and I'm going to find out and it's going to be great.
Quietly. Mm.
Yeah, he has this person and his person is Carl, the seagull. And I don't know.
That's so fucking funny. His person. That's true though.
He does not care about anyone as much as he cares about that fucking note.
Rachel, I'm gonna let you talk about buttons.
Well, I don't have anything. I'm gonna be honest with you. I watched the first season. I think I watched like 2 episodes.
I'm literally
with buttons
pulling
and I went,
things out of my ass.
I went. That's mine. That's one of mine. I immediately was like, "That's a good." Sorry.
Oh, God.
Look for actual reasons. You want me to give you actual, not just vibes?
Yes.
He was Stede's first like buddy on the ship. He like
the first mate.
Sense
He's
of
Stede's first
loyalty.
mate.
He was the first mate. He's completely fucking.
Is he loyal?
You think he's bonkers, but he's not. Like he's making sense within it exactly. He says exactly what he means and exactly what he thinks, and he's right. He's right. He turned into a fucking bird.
I don't question it a single moment.
I'll take
Rachel was like, that lady worshipped him as a sea witch, and she doesn't know what she's just done.
She knows not what she wrought.
We all worship him as a sea witch.
No, but that lady gave him the scroll that told him how to turn into an animal.
The passion about the sea, the like feeling and the emotion behind it, the passion and connection to the seagull and to seagulls in general, and to like life on the sea, and to being like so passionate. And I just want to say, the whole situation where he has that conversation with Ed when Stede runs off and leaves them alone.
And Ed's like, can you just not be weird? Each other. Can you just not be weird right now?
Ed was totally weirded out by him, and he was like, people cannot change. And I'm just saying, again, I'm going to do like actual arguments here for a second. Like Carla was talking about the emotional intelligence of a Gryffindor before. I know it's not overtly obvious with this one.
No, I get that. 100%.
He was teaching Ed a lesson about like sometimes you do have to change a little bit. Like change is possible.
If you try hard enough.
Watch.
Yeah.
He is very much like the wise old man in his own way, the most reasonable
Moon baby
person
naked
on this ship. And he's just like, he's warning Stede about mutiny.
What's it called?
He's the gravy tureen?
The gravy tureen.
He's like, I know you saw some shit in there. Me too.
The gravy basket. Yeah.
But like, he weirdly is the most logical person on this entire show, which is the most batshit thing in the world. Because he is always right. He tells Stede, he's like, they're gonna do a mutiny. He talks to Ed and he's like, you're being an idiot. And like he does all this stuff and he does it in such a weird way that
everyone like
and when they're in the bar, he's like, we need to be back on the sea. Like this sucks.
Yeah. And he gently. That's kind of where my little Slytherin, I guess, came in. Is like he gently maneuvers everybody to kind of what he wants them to do.
He really does.
But
it's quiet.
I'll take Gryffindor because I love.
I have
buttons.
to. But
I love good old buckles.
Going back to the Ed, that conversation with Ed, I just have to say too, Ed being like, you can't fucking turn into a seagull, and then seeing the seagull and being like, fly, be free, you did it. Ravenclaw. It's like,
how many times have we talked about like Ravenclaws and how we can't move you people? Like we can't convince you of anything unless you see. You have to visually freaking see it. And he's like. He's just curious and silly and delulu enough to like look, like see. He's like, that could never happen. And then he like peeks, right? And then he sees that it did happen. He's like immediately like, I believe it. I fly.
And then
fly,
next
my
episode,
friend.
they're like, we think you killed Buttons. He's like, no, he's a seagull.
He's really a seagull.
By the way, I had this whole theory, and I'm like, I'm glad that I'm wrong, but at the same time, I kind of wish that I was right because I like being right. That when Blackbeard left after Buttons turned into a seagull, that it wasn't because he turned into a seagull, just a seagull happened to fly out.
Right.
And then Blackbeard left. And then Buttons was like, where'd everybody go?
Right.
And then he was stranded at that island. But that was...
I'll spoil for you too, because there's so many more crew, and I'm sure we'll do more of this, because I'm hoping for season 3 too. But there's more crew, so we'll do more. I want to talk about Frenchie and all of them, but I will spoil for you in the audience, because there's no point in hiding it in the reason that we needed to sort him. The man is the only Gryffindor on board that ship, so the rest.
The only one. I said this season 1. I was like, we were talking about it just vaguely. We weren't officially sorting, but I was like. I was watching him talk to this bird and just like straight up wanting to murder over this bird. I was like, Lauren, I think he's the only Gryffindor here. And she's like, yeah, it's true.
Which is strange because I like him so much.
Some of us are great.
The least fucked up person on that whole ship, and he talks to
He is. He's a healed Gryffindor.
He's extremely stable.
I'm sorry, he is. Maybe we should put him smack in the middle, like the quintessential Gryffindor.
Is he crazy, or does he just sound it because it's in a Scottish accent, and that makes everything sound so much more like ridiculously perfect and believable?
Oh my lord! I love Buttons, man. Buckles himself. He's
good old Buckles.
Anyway,
we talked about him way more than I thought.
We did. Good for us. Yeah, there wasn't much. He unfortunately is not in a lot of episodes, but we do love him. Hope he gets more screen time, not just as a bird.
Yeah.
But,
he's coming back and bringing Izzy back.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yep. So happy Thanksgiving to you if you celebrate. If you're in America, if you don't celebrate in America, just happy a day off work. It's great for you. This will be after that holiday, so happy belated. We don't know what we're doing for the next episode. Gonna tell you right now, Rachel will probably come to my house and tie me up to make me do the Grinch. So probably that'll be the case.
I love that so bad.
So bad. She for several years now has been hacking our Twitter poll and it not working because people are
trying, but nobody will give it to me. So this year, I'm being a Grinch. No Twitter poll. Screw it. Because you guys are going to pick some shit like Love Actually, and I'm not doing it. I want the Grinch.
You're making fetch happen instead of making Grinch happen.
There's only the Grinch.
There's the mayor. There's Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou Who is less than 11 years old.
So's Mia, and we've sorted her.
I agree. I don't know how you could sort the Grinch. You just want to talk about the Grinch.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Him.
She's also sexually attracted to him. So-
Low key. I'm not ashamed of that.
Anyway.
So you're the person they make those Shrek TikTok filters for.
The Universal videos of the Grinch at Universal, she's like sending them to me with like the tongue out emoji.
Oh my God. I'm going to bring that Grinch an onion one year. I straight up am going to do it. Be one of those weirdos that goes there and is like, I love you. And the actor with the makeup on is like, okay.
This is new.
I'm gonna get banned.
Worth it. I love him. I'm happy to sort him. I don't know. We could sort his dog for all I give a shit. I just want to sort the Grinch.
All
right.
Anyway. So, happy holiday season to everybody. All the holidays. Thank you, Meg and Carla.
Thanks for having us.
Can't wait to see you next year. Yeah. You're going to have to give us that list of shows that you would want to do. That's how we picked the cleaning lady last year. So
yes. And that worked out for everybody because it's such a good show.
It did. It was very good. I enjoy being exposed to new things that I will say that I'm going to watch and then never have the time to. So.
I'm ready for the new season to come out.
Well, now strikes are resolved, hopefully in the favor of the people who matter.
We should do Abbott Elementary. That would be a fun one.
We should. I want to watch Abbott Elementary, so it will not be a shit sort. But
I can't wait.
It's
okay.
good.
Okay, you know what? We will do Abbott Elementary. We'll put that in the spring sometime.
Planning because right away.
Right? No, it's good because we're gonna watch Sex in the City and do that with Trisha. So that we'll make sure.
I don't need to rewatch it.
That's a nice.
I've watched it a million times.
I know what they are from the movies, but I should watch the show. So
why?
All right.
Well, because I'm going to experience the cultural problematicness of the early 2000s, Meg.
Okay. That is a show I did watch.
And the villain that is Carrie Bradshaw.
Oh, she's the worst.
She's awful.
And just like that. Anyway. Thanks for listening.
Happy.
Rachel opened her mouth and then didn't say a word. Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you for listening to Sort of Brilliant. If our sorting choices inspired any rage or excitement, we'd love to hear from you. We're open to feedback, suggestions for characters to sort, and solid counter-arguments with citations.
Never forget your citations. You can find us hanging out on Twitter and Instagram at @SOB_pod or shoot us an email at sortofbrilliant@gmail.com.
And since we're not above begging, please rate and subscribe to Sort of Brilliant on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please share our posts on social media. And if you're a Gryffindor, maybe you'll inspire sorting fights among your own friend group.
The theme music is Hot Shot by Scott Holmes. Can't wait to sort with you again next time. Bye!